but you know, equipment, so that's my caveat. So, so here it is, sociological imagination in my fabulous students. Thank you so much. And this is really one discussion that we had in the classroom. Go on and on till it starts. There they are.
Enables us to understand.
Larger historical picture.
And it's meaning.
And it's meaning in our own lives.
In our own lives. In our own lives.
Constructing different social mediums.
Socialization.
The presentation of self.
Culture.
Stratification. Class, inequality, race, and ethnicity.
Social construction of knowledge.
Sex and gender.
Social change and social movements. Family. The most important socializing agent.
In the United States, the wealthiest 1% of the population owns 40% of the wealth.
So we're talking about essentially because you know they're the one putting on the strings, and if that's the mentality that's going to be maintained, we have a very dismal situation here in America.
And stratification is the ranking of entire groups of
People that perpetuate unequal rewards.
unequal chances in society.
Sociology broadly defines racial transparency, which is the inability for the dominant, like say white people, to not be able to see racism that exists in society. I think as a man, we don't see gender transparency because we are the privileged ones. We don't ever see this.
We need to expose some of the racially motivated laws and policies for what they are and group together. I mean, in my case, man, I was sentenced on a crack law in the feds. I was sentenced to 10 years, which if it was powder cocaine, I would have got like 4 years. And all the papers, I got papers of court cases that the feds, the judges wrote that are on the sentencing commission. The judges wrote this. They said, this law disproportionately affects minorities. This law. So they know. So they send this back to Congress saying, hey, we need to fix this. And Congress said that.
You know, it's stratified, and if you know, it's not always based on race, but it's based on socioeconomic, your position in society, your status, you know, money wise, you know.
To the war on blacks, slavery and Jim Crow. If you're white, you're all right. If you're brown, stick around. But if you're black, get back. Do you remember that? I do. Of course, I wasn't there, but I felt it. To the unjustified, unprovoked war.
Our parents' unachievements and failures to their personal qualities, and not even thinking about what's going on outside forces that's led them to this point in their life.
Right, it's a whole same or do go to sports, and I agree with you. But I sold drugs at a young age. I met my mom. My parents divorced when I was young. I was broke the whole time. My mom, she was smoking crack, drunk all the time. I left my dad when I was 13, signed the papers, go back there, and I smoked with him the first day. Did that mean weed and drugs the right thing to do to me? Of course it did. This is what my dad does. He just keep bringing out my dad. Of course I'm going to sell drugs now. He was buying drugs on me. I mean, that make it right. In my rule, it did. In my rule, it did.
Man, my father, all together, he got 8 kids. My father got murdered when I was 12. He's a big time pimp in Seattle. Okay, so I have a lot of resentment, a lot of hatred towards that man, and I'm still dealing with some stuff to this day. And it's like, why do you have all these kids and allow them to go to foster homes and be abused and all this other stuff? So, yeah, I do blame him for some of the choices he made, man. That's me.
We all know things can be cyclical, okay? My father could very well have been abused mentally and physically by his parents, which caused him to physically and mentally abuse me. Now, I learned 4 things from my father. 1, hard work, which is good. To value education, which is good. Although he did both of these things through the end of a belt. So still have marks to prove it. Okay? So he also witnessed him abusing his wife. So I've learned how to abuse women, and I've learned how to abuse my own children in the future. So he gave me two good values, but he also gave me some bad, very, very, very bad ones. Okay? So can I blame him for that? Hell yeah, I can blame him for that. Well, of course, there are some other socializing agents out there, but for the most part, he's the one I learned these things from, right? I observe him beating his wife, and he has, beat me down, beat my brother down, beat my sister down, and to the point where we left home. My sister left early, my brother left early, and I left after my first year in high school.
I've known Miss Marcus all the time, son to James all the time, and father to Isabel all the time.
I come from a very strong American family. My brother and father have been married 49 years. We've been together about 55 years. They met in Arkansas, went to school together.
Everything I do nowadays is in line action for years worth of transformation.
My family's always been very supportive of me, even during the most darkest moments of my life. When I did good, they were there for me. When I did bad, they were there for me. There's not been a time that they've turned their back on me. But not really understanding the true definition of what I had, I took it for granted as I did my freedom.
It's one thing to be able to study a subject, so there's another thing to be the subject. You know what I'm saying? Because I truly believe there's just some things in life that can't be taught. You know what I'm saying? They have to be lived to be understood.
Some people show us that, hey, we understand that social forces or stuff that's outside of your control may have caused you to come here, but hey, there's a different route that you can take.
It's redeemable.
Being 14 or 15 years old, riding around with a gun, just hoping for that opportunity to really prove that I am somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where it's easy for somebody to sit in my face and try to tell me that, you know what I'm saying, that I don't know what I'm doing or I can just walk away from it because I do it. I think a lot of times the struggles and the fear is real. You know what I'm saying? When you get to talking to some of these kids, you know what I'm saying, when you get to talking about reflection, you know what I'm saying, going to sleep at night and really seeing what your life is and having to live with that, you try to avoid the truth at all costs.
Because this is my second time in prison, and I didn't change after the first time in prison. So it wasn't the prison sentence that made me change. It was, I started looking towards the future. You know, I was watching the show the other day, and the guy said he said I was tired of fighting everybody thinking that they were the enemy. He said, but when I really looked at it, the enemy was the enemy. You know what I'm saying? So I had to start getting all this time and looking towards the future. I had to realize that the way I'm going about life and the things that I'm doing ain't gonna be beneficial for me in the future when I do that. So at some point I had to make the decision to start progressing towards changing my mentality and changing the way I act and think and behave. That's where it all starts with though.
We need to be able to show some type of compassion in the system, whether it's the healthcare system, whether it's the education system, whether it's the criminal justice system. There is no room for compassion. You know what I'm saying? Justice is always based on a personal position.